What's going on, everybody? David here. Today we're going to talk about more stimulus checks. So we heard Trump a few days ago say that he's for more stimulus checks. But what does the GOP think? What do the Republicans think in the Senate? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first off, on this channel, we talk about personal finance for travelers. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell notification so you can get future updates on my videos. So we know where Trump is when it comes to stimulus checks. So we know what the House wants. The House wants more stimulus checks. We know that the president now says that he wants more stimulus checks. But what do the GOP senators say? What do those leaders say? And so that's what we're really going to focus on today, because they're the deciding factor. So the president he's not a legislator, so he is not going to be voting on this. He will be signing off the bill once it's done, but he is not going to be voting on the actual bill. And so what that means is everybody's looking at the Senate right now, and they're trying to figure out how the Senate sees the next package. And so that's what we really need to focus on. And so there's one word that keeps coming up every time. The senators are talking now, they're using the same talking point. And what they do a lot of times is they'll get together, they'll have luncheons and all this stuff, or they'll send out a memo and they'll say, okay, this is our strategy. And they all stick to that same strategy. And when I'm talking about the Republicans right now. So they'll stick to the same strategy, and then they'll put that strategy out. And so when they do create a bill, it's not a shock to everyone because they've already kind of mentioned what they're going to do. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And that word that keeps coming up is targeted. So now what's happening is, and this is no surprise, but now that Trump is saying that he's open for another stimulus check, or pretty much said that there will be another stimulus check, now you have these Republican senators that are some of them are really upset because they didn't want another stimulus package, and they definitely didn't want to give out more direct payments. And this is the reality, okay? I'm not saying that all of the Republican senators are this way, but I am saying that there are a certain few wrote a letter to the president saying no more stimulus at all. No more stimulus package, no more stimulus check, nothing. So we know that you do have some senators that are really adamantly against anything else stimulus related. And so the fact that Trump came out and said that's really put them in a situation where, how are we going to handle this? Because now that the president said it, they have to do something. They have to do something. They have to address it. And so now we're hearing the word targeted. So every time a senator talks, he's saying targeted. And the reason that they're saying this is because they're trying to reduce the amount of people who get whatever this next stimulus check is going to look like. They're trying to reduce the amount of people who get that. So the first quote I'm going to take from Mitt Romney. So he says, my preference would be to extend unemployment insurance, but to do that in a more limited way, a more targeted way. And I know I'm talking about unemployment, enhanced unemployment. The way that I see them working this is as far as stimulus check. Guess what? A stimulus check is now the enhanced unemployment. Or I guess you could have said it always was the enhanced unemployment. That's part of a stimulus check because they're giving you an extra $600 on top of whatever you were getting when it came to unemployment from the state. So this is kind of a way to say stimulus check. Yeah, stimulus check does include enhanced unemployment. So they want to do it in a more targeted way. And so that means that there might be some people who are not going to get another more enhanced unemployment. Some people might qualify, some people might not. So we're going to have to see how they do that. Will it be $600? They've already said that they wanted to reduce it down to $250 or $300. So that'll be another thing that they'll talk about. So it'll be very interesting to see where they go with this. So here's White House advisor Larry Kudlow. This is what he said. Probably we would want to target those folks who lost their jobs and are most in need. So interesting. He's talking about people who lost their jobs. So could that go to the whole unemployment, enhanced unemployment? So we don't have to give another stimulus check to everyone, but we can focus it on the enhanced unemployment. So you're seeing that. Now, I don't think they'll be able to get away with that. I think that would really, really hurt them and hurt the president. So I don't think that they'll go that route. I still think that there'll be stimulus checks that will go out to I won't say everyone, but they'll target people, and then we'll have another round that goes out to a variety of people. So I think that's the way that they're going to have to work this. They're not going to be able to just say, okay, enhanced unemployment, that is the new stimulus check that we were talking about. I just don't think it would work, but you do see that they're trying to focus that in with unemployment. And another thing they could be focusing on too is doing the enhanced unemployment and then giving those people stimulus checks as well. So just like they did before, people on unemployment were able to receive money from the state, they were able to receive money from the federal government as well as the stimulus check. So that's kind of the way that I think that they're gearing this. But when it comes down to it, you see the whole unemployment thing. So it looks like they're really going to focus on those people. But the thing is, you're kind of saying that, but then your other argument is if you give people on unemployment more money, then they're more apt not to go back to work. So are you going to give them some type of bonus to go back to work? Is that going to be a part of the deal too? Or is it just going to be just enhanced unemployment plus give them a stimulus check? Like, how is that going to all work out? Because that's kind of against what a lot of the senators are saying right now when it comes to moving forward with another stimulus package. Okay, let's hear what Stephen Mnuchin said. So he says, we're going to take our time and we're going to make sure that we're thoughtful. Now, this is interesting. He says that we're going to take our time. We're going to make sure that we're thoughtful. Okay, you're taking your time, but are you being thoughtful? Because there are a lot of people who are starving right now that need to pay their bills and all that. So is that really being thoughtful? But nonetheless, that's what he says. Whatever we do, it will be much more targeted, much more focused on jobs. So you see, they're saying the same thing. They're saying jobs targeted, jobs targeted. And so I think that's going to be the talking point. And when they create this bill, they're going to make sure that they're going to cut some people out. They're going to cut some people out of this next stimulus check because they didn't want to do it to begin with. And now that the president has kind of put them up against the wall where they have to do something, they're going to try to reduce the amount of people who receive the next stimulus check. Now, the only thing that we can do at this point is this package is going to have to go to the House. So it will start in the Senate. If they take on the HEROES Act, I don't even know if they're going to do that, but if they do take on the HEROES Act, they're going to have to make changes. It's still going to go back to the House. If the Senate wants to create their own bill, that's fine. It's still going to go back to the House. So the House will be able to kind of negotiate and figure out, okay, I think these people should get it, these people shouldn't. But it's clear that the GOP senators, they do not want to give out more stimulus checks. And if they have to, they're really going to reduce the amount that they give out. And one of the arguments was people were putting in their savings. They were not spending the money. So you had some people who were really desperate, so they did spend the money, but then you had other people who didn't really need the money. They've been working this whole time, and so what they did is they put the money in their savings, so it didn't stimulate the economy, which I understand. I mean, if you're going to put money in your savings, if it's a stimulus check, but you're not using it to stimulate the economy, then it doesn't make sense to do that. Now, you did have some Democratic senators back about 3 weeks ago that did come out and say, we do want it more targeted. So they brought that up too. So it's not just the Republicans that are saying more targeted. But if we're looking at a stimulus check, I would agree. You do need to have something that's more targeted. Now, how can they work around this? And what do I think the negotiation is going to look like? I think ultimately you'll have stimulus checks going out to certain people. Okay, people on fixed income, people who are unemployed, and then you might have some other people that are in there that will receive another stimulus check. But then I think they also will have these incentives for people who've been working this whole time. Let's say you're working this whole time, your money's fine right now. You're not really struggling when it comes to paying your bills and things like that. And I know that's not, that's probably a smaller number. There's probably more of the people are probably really struggling. But you do have some people that right now they're not struggling. And so giving them like they talked about travel credit might be something that's beneficial down the road, not right now because people aren't even thinking about traveling. But in the future, that might be something that will interest certain people. So that's something that I think that they can offer. They can also offer the essential workers bonus. So give them a bonus. If you're giving them a bonus, that's gonna, that'll be another category of people that you can focus on. If you give them a bonus, then you don't have to give them a stimulus check on top of that. So there are different things that they can really work out to make it I think, fair for everyone, if you want to look at it that way, and help people stimulate the economy in that way, where you're giving people, you're showing your appreciation to the essential workers, which is really not talked about much anymore. Then you really need to really start getting back on that. I think there was a proposal that came out a few days ago about it, but when it comes down to it, you need to be able to kind of get the money to the people who need it. And I agree with that. I think the people who definitely need the money should be getting those checks. And if you can work out different things where it is a travel credit or something like that, I think that would work for a lot of people. But I want to know what you guys think. So what do you guys think about this? Do you think that they will target, like they're saying right now? Are they going to start targeting the stimulus checks and not give it to the same amount of people that they gave it to last time? Let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.